Once you've entered in the Cassia atmosphere, you can get treated to a cutscene with the enemy you'll be facing. Use Lassie's wind ability to get you to the mainland to see that everything is frozen. You can't interact with the pots, chests, or even the gummy frogs. But you can interact with pizza so you can make sure you get a warp point for later. You'll be facing two different types of enemies on the beach area. First is the Mossling, the first wood enemy in the game. It only has two attacks. A standard but quick tackle attack that does very little damage, and a move called Hula in the back row only. They don't have much health, so you can take them out with a darker light magic. The second enemy is the Frozen Coral, who only have one attack called Sneezing Fit. The best way to take them out is with physical attacks and not magic, because they have a high special stat. After you see your robot friend found dead in Miami, head to Port Piscato and talk to the police officer and the male and female otter. Then head straight east to talk to Pizza to get another useful warp point. Then go in the house and talk with the dwarves. After all that, a cutscene should play out where the angry male otter goes back to his house. Follow him and you'll see him tinker with the machine with Mocha's head on top. And then a dog steals it.
What the dog doing?
Head north to chase the dog and coincidentally another doggy, but bad. This is the Hardy Dog, the first light element enemy in the game. This is also the first healer enemy with Love Shower, which heals everyone except the good boy. He also has the Hula attack, which is also a multi-target attack, forgot to mention that. He also has a crushing move. Even though it's weak to dark magic, light can still take it out pretty easily. But we'll visit the dog later. So head to the west area and go to the adorably named Lover's Cove, and use the wind magic to reveal the tree and your pre-mid boss, the Hermit Lab. The Hermit Lab is honestly even easier than most bosses on the first planet. Its only attacking move is a tackle attack, which is very easy to predict and block. And halfway through the fight, he goes away into his shell, which after a few turns, he'll converge back up. He doesn't heal or attack, he just kinda hides. It's almost like he's scared of you. It almost makes you think that you're the bad guy. Oh wait a minute, hold on, this is a good video material.
Write that down, write that down!
Just use magic or even physical attacks the whole time, and the pup runs away, live in a bunch of signs, and also you'll get the storage key and the stolen goods. Take it back to the otter, named Mick, and get back your sarcastic friend, go see a cutscene, and then bam, new ally. So let's talk about Mocha. Mocha is a pretty good character for utilizing earth magic, and since you're on the water planet, you have a great edge in battle now. Mocha's strength is extreme bulky defense and massive amounts of HP. However, his weakest stats are his very slow speed and low magic amount. He only starts off with 4 uses of Gravel Pounder, and he only gains 1 MP back every turn. And his use in the back row is extremely limited, with his inability to attack every opponent unlike Light and Wind. Right now, the best use for Mocha is always putting him in the front row. Combined with his great HP and defense, he can take many physical hits, and he can also dish back pretty decently strong physical offense or even pretty hard magic attack. But before you go into town, interact with his damage shift to get the rubber boots. And also while you're here, make sure Lassia is at level 7. You'll be able to get her first new move, Healing Wing. This is probably your go-to move for support. How it works is the amount of MP that you have, the more health you'll be able to get in return, considering it uses all of your magic. So in this case, if you use it in the front row, you'll basically get back almost 1000 HP, fully healing any party member. In the back row specifically, it actually cuts off all the healing that it does in the front. So it subtracts it, basically. However, it's still a really, really good healing move. Considering it heals less, it can also help you out when you have more party members in the future. And about this time, you should also get to level 8 with the protagonist. You'll get Crystal Laser for light and Jackpot for dark. Crystal Laser is going to be your main move for 90% of the adventure. Costing 30 MP, has a 20% chance to blind, and does crazy damage. It will be useful later. I really can't say the same for Jackpot. See, Jackpot is a staff buff move. You can buff speed, IQ, spirit, or defense. And here's the key word, you can buff it. it's a random chance, and you have a 25% chance of what you want. In the back row, it actually is more of a variety pick, so like everyone will get a stat buff. But again, this is kind of hard. But this is bad for another reason, but we'll get back to it later. Head back into town, stopped by the fanciest otter you'll ever meet, and he wants you to help take down the pirates. But before you go, it's best to heal up and stock up on items in the shop. They're pricier because you have to take care of an extra body now, but you should have more than enough to satisfy your prices and needs. Make sure you get plenty of healing items, and make sure you don't overspend everything. You might need some beer overall. You can always take a stop at the end to change the plans if you want, but after you're done with getting all preparations, stop by the house in the east to get the long johns from that one otter. Then you'll be able to head north and east to the Great Dragon Road. The place is blocked off, but with a little Mocha earth magic, breaks the tooth off the statue door. But once you're inside, you'll see a very long linear road encountering many enemies, and most of them are pirate otters. These pirates come in red and blue varieties, the red ones being weaker with only 450 HP, with the blue ones being slightly stronger with 480 HP. They only have one attack, Slug, which is fast but overall pretty weak. But overall, you'll face them multiple times throughout this place. Basically, in every single portion of the inner areas, you'll face them about 6 times. You'll face one of them 3 times, and then 2 of them 3 more times. And at the very, very end, you'll face 3 at a time. They also drop rainbow shells, which can be used a little later, but as of right now, you're not really going to be using them. As for all the other enemies you'll encounter 3 variations of ice shells. They can attack, defend, or even heal. Honestly, are they even live? Oh wait, the good boy's doing something. Oh, he's using Love Shower to thaw them out with ice. Revealing the Bossling, which we already ran over. Sniffles, being the first File Mage you'll encounter, but will only attack his Sneezing Fit, but overall he's not really too bad, having a bit of HP. And finally, probably the scariest enemy in your the 3, the Fungar Roach. This is a Wind Mage with Wind Magic. And don't forget, you have an Earth Mage on you. And remember the Earth Head with Glassy devastatingly destroying every Earth enemy in sight? Yeah, don't let them replicate that. These moves hurt. It also has a strange flying around physical attack. It's not that deadly, but it's very hard to block. There's also one more enemy in this area, but it's incredibly uncommon, and only appears in the 6th chamber specifically. I'm pretty sure most Starsign fans don't even know the thing even exists. If you are very patient enough, you'll find the Permafrost. The enemy is like the Frozen Cold, who has high immunity towards magic. However, you can also attack with a deadly hailstorm. Physical attacks are the way to go. However, it also auto-regenerates, so don't take your time and try to take it out quickly. This enemy also drops a Pearl, which can be useful for getting more Bira if you sell it for 3,000 Bira. But apparently God wasn't very nice to me, and even though I used Slippy Oil to get better to show it off, I took too long, and I didn't get it, and it already took me like 15 minutes of searching, and I'm not going to do that again. In the outside portion, you'll find the Sea Pony, which can attack with a strong overhead stab, or a flurry of stab. And the second enemy type, which is the Squid Mage, who has Hailstorm, which can attack 4 times. And he also has another move called Sultry Swoosh. I didn't get to see it, but this sounds hilarious. In the outside area, you'll also find a useful equipment called the Fridge Cap, which increases your max MP by 25. You can use it on Mocha, or anyone really, just don't give it to Lassie, she already has plenty of it. Once before the boss area, 2 otters will give you a HP pod, aka your Sugar Star farms, and MP pod, which stores your MP for 1 gummy frog, so make sure you got some on you. Say before entering the area to face 3 pirate otters. You'll face them again. How original. But don't immediately win the fight. Instead, make sure that 1 is remaining so you can heal up your team with gummy frogs and worms, and rearrange your team to make it feel comfortable. The reason for this is that you won't be able to heal during your battle. This is only 1 of 2 times this happens in the game, however be extremely careful. Once this is done, you'll be able to face the big bad boss of the area, Master Chard. Playtime is over, Chard is here to ruin your day. He has a grand total of 5 moves, the most of any enemy so far. His main gimmick is using finger pointer at the icicle at the top of the ceiling, then dropping it down next turn. You can't actually block this on the fly, you have to manually go to the menu and block it like that. I've tried several times, it doesn't look like you can block it though. He also has a standard slice kick attack. It does pretty decent damage when not blocked, but it's pretty easy to block overall. However, halfway through the fight, he'll start using Shadow Die. Be careful because this does a lot of damage, especially when he's powered up. An interesting fact here is if the planets are lined up in your favor, he'll actually use Celestial Swap, so be very, very careful. Now, how do you deal about taking down this fight? Well, if you remember, stall out the first 3 auto fights to make the planets in your order. If you're a light mage, it's best to have it night during the middle portion so he can't be able to use Shadow Die. But once it turns light, you'll be able to use crystal lasers to your heart's content. However, if you're a dark mage, it's best to have turn to dark immediately when the battle starts so you can use Shadow Die over and over again, and once it ends, he can't be able to use it. Also, just don't go to the inn unless you can perfectly time when you don't go into any battles, and it's also a very long walk back. So again, when you're a light mage, you can also just use Crystal Laser over and over again. Mocha is here to use Grapple Pounder to do some nice damage, which is around 200 damage. And with Lassie, just make sure you use Healing Wing over and over again until, well, Chard is gone. For Dark Mages, this is a very different story. You have to be really defensive for Chard because, well, you don't do at least 1200 a pop. You're only doing about 200 to 400. So you have to play this fight like you're extremely careful. Every time he points at the icicle at the ceiling, make sure you block. Just make sure when you're safe to attack, you attack. Once you defeat Chard in battle, you'll gain the Sage Hat, which you'll get more experience overall once you wear it. Once the pirates are defeated, they try to freeze you solid, but Mocha uses his incredible intelligence, and by that he just slams into the machine, revealing the Mystic Mouse. And after the whole planet goes under reverse climate change, the whole planet's unfrozen. Congratulations, you did it. Once back in town, talk to the dwarf immediately to fix your ship to head to the next 2 planets. However, because the planet's unfrozen, you can actually interact with the HP pot. You can even go to the Gummy Frog area to flip over all the Gummy Frogs because some of them can be explosive, so be really careful. And finally, at the first area, make sure you go and get to the crest near the beach area to get yourself a Buddy P. We'll explain what these do a bit later, but overall, you're basically done with Cassia. Now, it's time to make a choice. Do you go to the Wood Planet or the Wind Planet?